I see it. I see it now, Sharon.
Okay. Hold on one second. Yeah, it's. Okay. So you're good. If you want, I can make you the host.
All right.
I'm still here, so I'll be here. Just shout out if you need anything.
Thank you.
No worries. Okay, you guys are good to go.
Okay, we are all set, Mary.
Yes, we are. We're streaming live on YouTube and to the cloud.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, good evening, everyone. This is the Danbury Zoning of Appeals, January 14th, 2021 meeting. Agenda applications to be heard by the Zoning Board of Appeals at a public hearing in a web-based meeting based on Zoom. You all know this, I think, but that's just for the record. Pursuant to Executive Order 71, Section 19C, notice is hereby given that items number 2034, 2035, 2036, and 2021 will be heard. We'll make a motion to that effect in a moment, but with that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Excuse me, Mr. Moore. That's the last application is 2101.
I'm sorry, yes, 2101.
Thank you.
Thank you, yes, yes. For roll call, we have here tonight myself, I am Rod Moore, acting chair, Joseph Hanna, Juan Rivas, Michael Sibbett, and Peter DeLucia. Peter is sitting in as an alternate tonight for Richard Jowdy, chairman of the ZBA. First item on the order of business before we make a motion and go into the public hearing part is the acceptance of minutes from the October 22nd meeting. I trust you've all read them thoroughly. Is there a motion to, I think all five of us here were also at that same meeting, so we certainly have more than enough to vote on these minutes. Is there a motion to accept the meetings of October 22, 2020?
I make a motion to accept the minute, October
right.
22, 2020.
All right, Mr. Hanna made a motion, a second?
Second.
Peter seconds, Peter DeLucia, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let the record show that that was unanimous acceptance of the minutes. As mentioned beforehand, we'll mention it again now. Item number 20-24, 1 Peyton Aram Road, Interstate Sign Crafters for Wells Fargo. They have asked for a continuance. So if anyone's here for that, you can have the rest of the night off because it will be either within 2 weeks or sometime in February when they're back with their application. Other than that, is there a motion to hear 20-35, 20-36, and 21-01?
I make a motion to hear 2035 and 2036 and the 2101.
All right, Mr. Hanna made a motion. Second?
I'll second.
Mr. Sibbett, seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Here we go. First item is 20-35, 19 Wood Street, Doyle, Robert, and Gail. To Section 4A, reduce minimums. Section 4A3, reduce minimum yard setback from 15 feet to 8.5 and increase maximum building coverage from 20% to 23% for an addition. Someone here tonight to speak?
Yes. Good evening. Benjamin Dodo, licensed professional engineer. I'm here representing the applicant, Bob and Gail Doyle. Also tonight with me is Bob Doyle. Everyone can hear me, I assume?
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds good. Go ahead. Yep.
Okay, great. I'm going to just give a little introduction and then I'm going to share the screen in a little bit, but I'm going to just start with the introduction before I share the screen. Unless you want me to share the screen immediately, that's up to you guys.
Depends on what you got to share there, Ben.
It's a simple map.
By all means.
Well, I'll just, Bob and Gail have lived here for 37 years since it was a house that was built in 1962. It's on Wood Street, single family residential neighborhood. It's an R20, a half acre zone. It's a third of an acre lot. with an existing house on it. They propose to do an addition, actually technically 2 additions, but it's really 1 addition, and then another area, it's a little 70 square foot area that's getting squared off. And the reason we're here tonight is because the existing lot is non-conforming with respect to side yard setback. So we're asking for a variance to the side yard, 4A3. This zone requires 15 feet, and we're asking to go down to 8.5. And when I get to the map, I'll show you that we're already currently at 5.2 on that side. The second is a coverage variance. We're currently at about 18% building coverage. The additions that we're proposing will bring us to 23. And again, the total square footage of the additions amounts to about 770 square feet. They're pretty modest additions. The house itself right now is only about 1,750 square feet for a house. I'm going to go over to I'm going to share my screen right now. The lot is served by city water and city sewer, so there's no issues with respect to septic systems, like there are a lot of times. So again, here's the house, and for Wood Street, for those that are familiar, it's over by Candlewood Town Park, between Haystown and East Pembroke. It's on the east side of the road here. This is a map prepared by Paul Hyro. He was the surveyor who did the map for the Doyles. And basically, you can see the existing house. And really, the proposal is to, right back here, this is the addition. That is a 700 square foot addition. The variance we're asking for is 8.5 feet, which is right here. But as you can see, the existing house is already at, I lost my drawing tool here. There it is. The existing house itself is already at 5.2 over here by the corner of the garage. And then when I had mentioned there's about a 70 square foot addition in the front, this is the area right here. You can see the proposed addition that is called out there, right in this area. This meets all the setback requirements. It just adds to the building coverage. Our hardships that we have stated on our application are the non-conforming lot size. Again, this is a 1/3 acre lot in a 1/2 acre zone, and the location of the existing house relative to the property lines. As you can see, we're not getting any closer to the road. We maintain our rear property line. We maintain the side yard on the north. The application also includes letters of support from our 2 neighbors here, the Morados and Antonios, both neighbors to the left and right. That was included as part of the application. And I just want to point out that if this lot were compliant, say for instance, it were a 20,000 square foot lot instead of a 14,700 square foot lot, our building coverage would comply. We would be just under 17%. So I just want to put that on there for the record. I'll be happy to answer any questions that anyone has with respect to this, but this is the proposal, and it's pretty straightforward.
All right. Anyone on the board have any questions? Or anyone else here to speak in favor of this?
All from Greenwich Seat.
I'm sorry, who's speaking?
No, that was no, and I just want to make sure that those 2 letters in favor from both the neighbors are they're obviously on the record, right, Rod? Those don't have to be read in, correct?
They don't. You have copies in there, right? I actually missed those, I think, in the application, but they are in there, right?
They are,
Okay.
they are, both are in the file.
Yeah.
I thought they were also on,
They may be.
but I can't switch back, so.
All right. Well, let's see. I can take a quick look. I actually can take a quick look here. Let's see.
I'm
Application.
looking as well.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me just open it up a second. I think they're in there. I'll tell you in a second for sure, just so we know for sure.
They should be.
Yeah. All right, we scroll down through here quickly. Yes, there they are. One from, as Ben had said, one from Mr. Marotta and one from Mr. Antonio. You know, while we're here, I'll read them. From Mr. Antonio, to whom it may concern, I met with my neighbors of almost 40 years, Bob and Gail Doyle. They shared with me their plans for an addition for their home at 19 Wood Street for their daughter. I reviewed the plans with them and am totally fine. As far as Mr. Maroto, I was notified by neighbors, Bob and Gail Doyle, of their desire to put an addition on their home located at 19 Wood Street. They reviewed their plans, and I have no problem with the proposed addition. So now they're in the record.
Thank you, Rod.
All right. Anyone else here to speak in favor of this application? Anyone here to speak in opposition? I'll give time for the delay. Sometimes I don't wait for the delay. Okay. Is there a motion to close hearing number 20-35?
I make a motion to close 20-35.
A second on the motion?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, all
Aye.
opposed? Let the record show that there was unanimous approval to close the hearing. All right, next on the agenda, and we will, I think, roll through these and then just get into our voting session at the end of all three. We'll do it that way tonight. So next on the agenda is 20-36. That's the one at 3135 South Street, Preferred Manufacturing Corporation. There's someone here to speak in favor of that application.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Ward Mizuko. I'm a lawyer here in Danbury, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant. If I'd be allowed to share my screen, I can take the board through the proposal. That would be all right.
Yeah, I think if you're not, they'll get our hostess will give you permission, right? So-
Ward, see if you can share it, because I opened it up to multiple attendees.
You did.
There you go.
Yes, thank you very much, Mary.
Welcome. You're welcome.
Pardon me. So tonight I'm here on behalf of Preferred Utilities, a longtime Danbury company, and I'm accompanied by the folks who have designed and proposed to construct solar panels on the property. The solar panels in question look like this, and they will, as you'll see in a moment, they're intended to sit above parking spaces so they don't eliminate any parking, and they serve as carports, if you will, but all the while supplying energy to the building. In case there are any questions that go beyond my abilities, I have this team with me tonight, and together we can address any questions that you may all have. Starting with a little bit of a technical point, this is what the solar system panels do. We'll have more on this later, but they generate nearly 240,000 kilowatts per year. So the variances that we're requesting, they include having this solar system between the in front of the building, which is one regulation 3G12A2A. And we're also proposing to increase the height from 15 feet to 21 feet. 15 feet isn't actually a limitation in the regulations. It's, I guess, a policy, you might say, that the city has generally applied. And we just thought, in consultation with Sean and getting his good advice, that we should seek a variance just to be conservative. And then the third one is an increase in building coverage, including these panels, from 34% to 43%. It's a feature of the regulation on solar panels that says that they are to be counted toward building coverage, even though they're not really a building as such. And this property was subject to a prior variance where the building coverage was increased to 34% for a small addition to the rear, which we'll see in a moment. And I can come back to this if there are questions, but I think you'll see as we go along how it all fits together. This is the property. As you travel along South Street here, I'm sure many of you have looked toward the east and seen the preferred utilities structure. It's a large building. It goes back several decades. To the rear is a railroad track which used to serve the facility. This being in the IL-40 zone, there's industrial over here on the other side of the tracks and also to the north. There is some RA8 property across the street, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. But the hardship here comes from the fact that this property is set way back from the road. This is part of the property here, this dogleg, and the space between the front of the building to the road is where solar panels are not allowed. So the only available space for solar panels would be these very narrow strips where they couldn't really fit. So in light of the placement of the building, which predates zoning, and the fact that it's set so far back from the road, the hardship is that we were unable to place solar panels anywhere else. The ZBA considered solar panels a few years ago for a different applicant over in the Berkshire Park. There's no need to go through all this, but I just wanted to point out variance 16-18 entail a finding of hardship so that solar panels could be erected and landscaped islands could be eliminated. So my point being that the board has found in the past that these are a necessary and important feature of our fight against global warming. And so I'm hoping that the board will find hardship again this evening. I wanted to point out over here, one other thing, I'm sorry. There's some natural screening along here, as you can see. And the only area, and there's a little bit of screening here, but this property to the south is the one most directly affected by the proposed solar panels. And that property owner submitted a letter to the board that indicates that it has no objection to the request. And in fact, they request that the variance be granted. So here's the site plan to drill down on this in a little more detail. Again, the railroad tracks are to the rear. South Street to the front. Here's the dog leg I was talking about, so that from the building line to the street line, no solar panels would be allowed the way the regulation currently reads. The variance that you granted previously for coverage allows for this addition here. And the regulations do call for screening with respect to residential neighbors. So we're proposing some screening here that will accommodate people on South Street. This is another view of the site, and the panels would be set in this configuration over the parking spaces, and that's shown here in a little more depth. These are all parking spaces under here, and solar panels would be placed above them. Again, you can see the natural screening that already exists. This is a little bit of detail about the elevation. They have to be oriented correctly, and they have to be able to be moved into a position for the optimal capture of sunlight. As I said, there was a 15-foot policy in the city, but these are go up to 21 feet in height. This shows you what anyone traveling on South Street would see, and in particular, the RA properties across the street. As you can see, there's a lot of natural screening there, and this is so far into the distance that even this massive building is not very visible. This is actually a rendering showing the placement of the solar panels, and you really have to look hard to see them. They're barely visible from the street. So we would anticipate no impact on the residential neighbors or on drivers who are passing by. And as you recall from the site plan, we're proposing some buffering right around here so that the practical effect is that you won't be able to see these panels from anywhere. This is another rendering a little closer in. And again, you can sort of see them, the dark rectangles behind the trees, but not terribly visible at all. The benefits of this include an energy savings of about $28,000 a year by producing up to 70% of the total usage of this building. That amounts to the equivalent of driving a car 419,000 miles in a year, or charging 21 million smartphones for a year, to put it in a modern context. The CO2 emissions that would be saved are enormous, and the carbon sequestered is the equivalent of 220 acres of US forests in a year. So let me just jump back to the request, because just to recap, now that you've seen everything from start to finish, the proposal is to place the solar panels between the building and the road, to increase the height from 15 feet to 21, and to increase building coverage from 34% to 43%. But that is because the regulation requires them to be counted toward building coverage, even though they would normally be considered just a structure under the regulations that would have no coverage requirement. So there's the site plan, which you saw a moment ago. Would anyone have questions that I or anybody on our team can help with?
I have a question in regards to the 21-foot number that you gave us for the panel. panels, is that like a default measurement? Or is that like an adjustable measurement that where it can go anywhere from 21 feet to another height?
I believe that 21 feet is the maximum height in case the adjustment would raise it that high. But I'm going to ask Justin Paradise to comment, if I may. He is with the supplier and would have a better technical answer for you, Mr. Rivas.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, this is Andy. I'll take that question. That's a fixed max height.
Okay.
So, okay, so they do come fixed. So there is no adjusting to the panels themselves?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Andy, thank you for clarifying. Any other questions about the application?
Technically and philosophically, it's a great idea. Maybe you could expand on the hardship a little bit. I mean, it's not like there haven't been a lot of other variances granted for this property, and it is an unusual and unique property, no doubt about it. But as noble a cause as it is, to have that, and of course, saving money for the company is not a relevant matter in terms of hardship.
Of course.
Just if you could expand on that a little bit. I know it's unique size and I know it's all that, but I'm not sure how the uniqueness of the property precludes normal and full use of the property.
Okay. So if we were starting off today, looking to build to today's standards, if this was a vacant lot, the designers would have not located the building to the rear, but instead located it up front and placed the parking in the rear. In other words, the parking would have gone back here and the building would go where the parking is. Then the solar panels could go in the rear without any question at all. But in fact, the building was placed to the rear because no one at the time could have foreseen solar panels or the regulation. And in fact, the reason to place the building to the rear was to have access to the railroad, which no longer takes place. So unfortunately, the building is where it is. And there was no way to anticipate when the building was built that this need would ever arise. And that's really the best explanation I have. The other feature too is that by prohibiting these panels in front of a building, it was probably intended that the front of the building would be much closer to the road. But here, in fact, there's an intervening property. So in fact, the solar panels are nowhere near the road. So that's another peculiar feature of the property, which I think justifies the placement of the panels here. If there was a, if the property fronted on the road directly, it would be more of a concern. But since it has that dogleg feature, that's another reason that we would have for the placement of the panels.
All right. Thank you. Could you go to one of the photos showing the buildings in the back there?
That one?
That one, or if there's one that's a little more close up of the building, I think there is. That may be that's the one I'm thinking.
Okay.
I'm sure this must have been considered, but could you explain why the roof wouldn't work?
I believe it's, the panels are rather heavy and the building is quite old, and that actually was examined.
Mm-hmm.
And it was found that the building structure is simply inadequate to support them.
That's
Okay.
correct.
I had a
All right.
question. Mr. Mizuko, is the screening you're gonna put, is it already exist there, or you're gonna put new screening?
No, it's new. It doesn't exist yet.
And how high this would be if you're gonna put new?
Okay. Sure, Mr. Hanna. Yeah, the screening would go here. It does not exist today. It would, it's reflected here. And let's see, what does the site plan say? I don't think it specifies a height, but maybe someone on my team remembers what the height is intended. They're evergreens planted 10 feet on center, but I don't know the height.
It does not need to be very tall because it's so far away. It's,
Excuse me,
First,
who is speaking at this point?
I'm sorry, Mary, that was Andy Mayshar, Maysar.
Thank you, thank you. I just can't see that.
oh,
Yes,
sorry.
I'm
That's
sorry.
all right.
We'll all identify ourselves.
That's
when-
okay, thank you.
If they were even 6 feet high here, they would,
6 feet high?
I would think that that would probably cover them, but they're hardly visible. And
So
I think-
that's gonna be some, the evergreen trees, they grow up,
yeah,
right?
they'll grow bigger later, but to start with,
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Mizuko and company? All right. Anyone else here to speak in favor of this application? Anyone here in opposition?
Sorry, I was just going to say there are many of us here in favor. I don't think you want to hear from each of us, but we're all in that list.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so you're now on the record of being in favor. You're down. All right.
That's what I'm here for.
All right.
Who is that again? Was that,
Dwayne Bolden.
I'm sorry?
Dwayne Bolden, Mary?
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. With that, no question, no opposition. Is there?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
this is Ben Shinese. I'd like to say a few words if I may.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Just for the record, I'm Ben Shinese at 5 Briar Ridge Road in Danbury, Connecticut. My question is hopefully is fairly simple. I just need to understand the zoning for that area allows for solar panels if they're less than 15 feet high. Am I correct on that?
Yes. Yeah.
And the reason that they're going for a variance is that this is going to be placed on top of a carport, which elevates it to 21 feet. Am I correct?
not exactly. They serve as a carport. They don't sit on top of a carport. And when I discussed the proposal with Sean ahead of time, as I always do, there really is no height requirement that applies to these devices. We just put the variance in an abundance of caution. And the height really doesn't affect the visibility much at all, but Sean wants to comment on the height issue at all, but
yeah, for the record, Sean Hardy, the zoning officer for the city of Danbury. I discussed this, Ben, with Ward a few times. It's an odd duck when you have these solar array carports coming through and dealing with our accessory use height restrictions and front yard requirements. This is going over existing impervious surface, but we're adding more building coverage to it anyway. So it's it hasn't really caught up with the technology, our detached accessory use type requirements. So when I did talk to Ward, we do hold it at 15 feet, and that all depends. I mean, if you have an A-frame, your 15 feet is halfway down your A-frame. The configuration of this panel or carport, it's a carport really, doesn't allow for that leeway we have usually when we're looking at roofs or a normal carport, just because of its idea. It's going to be a solar panel as well. So I hope that clarifies it a little bit, Ward and Ben.
yeah, thank you, Sean.
So just a quick follow-up. So this won't set precedence for other areas to do the same thing, to have a carport and have the panels on top.
I won't talk law here, but Mr. Mizuko's here, Attorney Mizuko. The ZBA has that precedence usually doesn't carry over. Every case is on its own merit. This has been approved before on a couple other industrial sites. It's the way some companies are going. So like I said, I think it's going to be a continuation in the future of more of these, Ben.
But just a quick thing, wouldn't it be better to refer it back for a zoning change instead of a variance change?
Well, I think the zone change still wouldn't affect the problem with the front yard. It still wouldn't affect the problem with the building coverage. Why the building coverage doesn't worry me as much is because it's going on an existing impervious surface, so it's not contributing to more surface water or surface area there. It's just we don't allow detached uses in the front yard. And on continued conversations I had with Ward was that, hey, it's better just to come in because what is it, an array or a carport? Is the carport dressed up as an array? So it's new stuff that's coming in front of us that we're trying to figure out how to plug it into the regulations. And I think this is the easiest route to come in and say, hey, I understand of our lot configuration, and Attorney Mizuko then took care of the rest. But like I said, Ben, more and more of these are coming in, so you are correct. Is it going to set a precedent for other properties? I think each property is unique, so I would say no.
Exactly. Yes. The difference between a zoning change and rewriting the regulations for that zone would indeed, fact, open every piece of property in that zone up to 21 feet versus the current 15. With a variance, as Sean just said, every property is unique, and we like to think, at least in my tenure on the board, and some of the other folks could talk to this as well, that we look at each property and each application as unique, so that sometimes next door neighbors don't receive the same variance because the hardship is there for one and not for the other. So all that to say is, no, it's not a precedence per se, and this is the best way to make sure it's not, because a whole zone change would set the precedence. If I said that, all right, you attorneys and engineers and whatnot, I'll let it go at that.
Yeah, but does it give a rise to a hardship though, as you mentioned?
Well, hardship is like beyond reasonable doubt sometimes. It is very unique, that property, as was explained, with that dogleg shape, and the fact that it's so far away makes it easier to grant a variance like this. And again, he explained why the building is where it is. That's a determination that we make in our deliberation. I'm always interested in getting the best explanation of hardship as possible for the record. And it seems reasonable, but we'll take that up in our discussion, certainly when we go to the voting session.
Thank you.
All right, is there a motion to close the last one of the year?
I make a motion.
20-36.
2036.
Okay. Joe
I'll
made the
second
motion.
that.
Juan made the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, hearing is closed. Our last hearing for the evening is 115 Carroll Street. Bernard Pical Jr. and Lucy Donna. Sorry. Sorry.
Bernard Pical and Donna Lucetti. How are you?
How are you?
Wait, hold on. This should help.
There you go.
Anyway, you are here to speak.
In the bedroom, don't worry.
All right. Okay. So please come forward, if you will, and present your application.
Okay,
Very well.
thank you so much. Okay, so we are looking to put a proposed addition on our property. We're in an RA20 zone. And we're looking to take the front yard setback from 30 feet to 17 feet. Currently, there is a deck where we're looking to actually put an enclosed staircase. And then on our side yard, we are looking to bring the setback from 15 feet to 5 feet. I can share what the A2, I don't know if I can make it smaller. Hold on, I don't know how to scroll this thing in here. Let's see if I could do it. Okay, so as you look at the property, this being, hold on, I'm looking here. This being the house, this area here is where we're looking to put the enclosed stairwell. When we go to the side, this is even of bigger concern. We're looking to go 13 feet out from the home. However, because of the pre-existing non-conforming lots, we have a situation where the angles are that at this front corner, we're substantially closer than where we would be at the back. But in order to be able to make it work, we're applying to see if we can get a variance for that. The property would certainly stay in compliance with the landscape of Lake Wabeeka. It will be one level. And it would be, I guess we're looking at section 4.A.3. We have spoken with Lake Wabeeka on this, and I did get a call back from the president of the board today who told me they had no problem with what we're looking to do. We do have a letter that came in that did not make it to the board from Dr. and Mrs. Khan, who own the property to the right of us where we're close to the variance, and I can submit that document. I could probably even share it here. Hold on, if I could go back to the new share. How do I even get? Hold on a minute, because
Bear with us, guys.
bear with it. I'm trying to figure out how to get to where I'm going. Let me try to do this again another way. Hold on, sorry.
Excuse me, Donna. Excuse me, Donna. You can even read it into the record.
Okay, that would be fine.
That'd be great.
So this is a letter, letter of support for zoning variance requested by Pico Lucenti of 115 Carroll Street. As the owners of 113 Carroll Street, Danbury, Connecticut 06810, who share the property line with Bernard Pikel Jr. and Donna Lucenti. We are writing to support the request of Bernard Pikel Jr. and Donna Lucenti for the variance at 115 Carroll Street for their construction project. And that's signed by Jeffrey Kahn and Judith Kahn, the owners of the property.
All right. That's the one immediately to the right of the property, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Correct.
Because I did kind of walk in between the houses to see how that might fit.
Oh,
so-
that
was that you yesterday?
That was
on
me.
My camera. I'm
I
sorry, we're up
confess.
paid. And I guess what, my next door neighbor, he called me up and let me know. He said, somebody's in your driveway. And he cut me off when I was talking to you. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for stopping by.
No, that's all right. Usually the clipboard in hand, I don't get any hassles, but you're very secure there at Wake Wabeeka. What can I
You
tell
know
you?
what? I tell you what, our neighbors are fantastic. So I can't complain. I can't complain. They're great. They're great.
Right.
There were also two letters of
Two more letters.
support that were submitted to the board, I believe,
Yes.
in time.
Yes, there were. They're fairly long, but I will, for the record, unless you want to, just note who they were from and from their address. But
Sure,
they are
yeah.
here. They are here in the file. So,
Fantastic.
all right. So,
Thank you.
if you want, well, I have them right here. One of the letters is from Catherine Brooks at 118 Carroll Street, glowingly in favor. And the other one is from Peggy Struna and Daniel Schwartz at 115 Carroll Street.
116.
I'm sorry, 116. Both of those are across the street. 116
Yeah.
Carroll Street. Also very much in favor.
Thank you.
So we do have several hardships for this property, and this is pretty much one of the only ways that we could make it work. I don't know if you'd like me to, if you have any questions on the hardships that we have.
Oh, always, yes. Yes.
Very well.
You know, Lake Wabeeka is one of our favorite communities. They're always
There we
hearing
go.
hardships. So
One of ours as well. Trust me.
Well, as you're looking at these pre-existing non-conforming lots,
Yes.
it gets really tricky once the surveys are done and you realize just what direction everything goes. We also have a topography issue. So as you start going, if we were to go back to the back, then we would have a problem both with the rock ledge and the septic. If you go to the north side of the property, that's where the Lake Wabeeka water line goes through. And we are not able to go up for handicapped purposes. So a lot of what we're doing is we're putting on a master bedroom area, along with a bathroom, an office area, and a laundry with doorways and hallway that is actually wide enough for needs to be handicapped accessible. And then with the front entryway, we're also looking to enclose that to make it a little bit easier from a handicapped standpoint and to bring it so that you can actually enter the inside at ground level and have the staircase going as opposed to being on the outside where the deck is.
Yeah, so we don't get wet.
All right.
So to speak.
Okay. Obviously it's a Lake Wabeeka lot. It's 0.33 acres, which if I do the math is about 14,400 square feet, 14,400 square feet. The zoning regulation for coverage is a maximum of 20%. I'm guessing you're well
We
under
are.
that. Yeah.
So the home
know?
currently is 845 square feet, which takes up 6% of that lot.
Okay.
With the proposed addition, bringing everything to approximately 1,750 square feet, we're still at only 12%.
12%.
Okay.
Wish we
Good.
can go bigger, but we can't.
Well, good homework. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
All right.
Are there any questions?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Are there any
Any
questions?
Any questions?
Any questions?
I have a question
Mr. Hanna.
regarding the front setback line. I understood that you build in a staircase there.
Yes, it would be an enclosed entryway.
Enclosed entry.
That would be from 30 feet, that's like 13 feet wide, right?
So we're looking to bring the setback from 30 feet back to 17 feet, yes.
But the stairway is gonna be, how wide it is? Is it,
I actually have to look at the plans. I know we're not, and I don't have the building plans in front of me. So I'm thinking that area, if you could excuse me one moment, I just need to see if I have one document. Bear one moment.
She's good with that. She's great with that. Oh, it's not that big, but it's
she's good with that, make your life easy all the time.
Oh, my goodness, you have no idea. And I know we're last on the agenda. And listen, right, yesterday I did tell you, we do have great neighbors. He texted me, there's someone walking around your house. And I said, thank you. And my son's a state trooper. So he resides in he just bought a house.
Yeah.
So so we're looking to, So
it's the big dogs that get me normally. So
no, we don't have any dogs. I have a boxer, and he's
okay.
He's old. But saying that he wasn't there.
Well, I wanted to see and believe the topography in the backyard, and yes, it is steep. I that's why I was back there.
That's the problem. We tried every configuration. We've been over these plans. I don't know how many times. It's just that we're selling her house here. We have two homes, unfortunately. We want to reside it to be good. I love it there.
All
Great
right.
place to live. Great place to raise the kids. It's nice.
All right.
It's nice. Love my neighbors. That's why I'm there.
Okay.
So I'm just waiting on that. I apologize, guys. We're the last on the list, and everybody wants to kind of
All right.
relax.
Well, while we're waiting, I'll just ask: is there anyone else here to speak in favor? Anyone else? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this application? I'm glad to see you got a letter from 113. I was wondering about that.
Listen, it was just in negotiations. We had a meeting last week with them.
Okay, I'm so sorry. All right, so we would be looking at the stairwell would be about 6'8", 6'8" by 11, 9 and an eighth.
So is that?
Is that good, Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Thank you. Yes, not that.
Sorry.
I told you she had it all
No
in control.
problem. We kept the ball rolling, I think.
We did. It was good. I appreciate
All
it.
right. So no one here to speak in opposition, correct? No one else here to speak in favor? Is there a motion to close 21-01? I got to get used to that. Motion?
Motion to close 21-01.
All right, Ms. Hannah makes a motion. Second?
Michael
Ron,
Sevitt.
oh,
Michael Sevitt, I think.
Michael, yes, Michael seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Is there a motion to go into the voting session?
Make a motion to go on voting session.
All right, Joe, second.
I'll second that.
All right, Juan, second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. (20-15) Wood Street. Any discussion on that one? Let me just get. That's to reduce the side yard setback from 15 to 8.5 feet, increase the maximum building coverage from 20 to 23 feet. One of the things that I'm sure you noticed on this, that even though of 8.5 feet is what they need, it's less than where the other corner of the house currently exists. So any other comments or thoughts on this one?
I make a motion to approve 20-35, 19 Wood Street, Doyle, Robert and Gale, 109, 104 RA 20 zone. The new addition is really within the minimum setback line from the existing home and doesn't really affect the safety and the well-being of the community as per plan submitted.
Second. Second motion seconded by Michael Sevitt. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All
Aye.
opposed? None opposed. Let the record show that was unanimous. Motion is approved. Variance is approved.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, 20-36, 3135 South Street, Preferred Utilities Manufacturing Corporation. Any comments on this from the board? Anyone have any other
I would like
concerns?
to make a motion, if no question.
Okay,
I make a motion to approve 20-36, 31-35 South Street, Preferred Utility Manufacturing Corporation, IL 40 zone. Allow solar panel in front building, section 3G 12B, increase height of solar panel from 15 to 21 feet. Section 3G 12C, increase building coverage, including panel from 34 to 43%. I think since that's a good thing for the environment and saving on the pollution and the what I was gonna say here is we don't have too much manufacturing companies in Connecticut anymore. So I'm in favor and supporting those companies providing a job, and this company here for a long time. So as per plan submitted, and does not affect the safety and the well-being of the community, I think is a good thing for the environment.
Second.
Mr. Sevitt seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. So let the record show that that's approved unanimously. And finally,
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, everyone.
all right,
Welcome.
Thank you.
115 Carroll Street, Lake Wabeeka. I personally attested to a bit of steep topography in the backyard, which does preclude that doing much back there. Anyone else have any comments, questions, concerns, motions?
I make a motion to approve 21-01, 115 Carroll Street. Pickle Bernard Jr. and Lucente Donna, RA 20 zone. Reduce front yard setback from 30 feet to 17 feet and reduce side yard setback from 15 to 5 feet. It's existing lot and the house set up in different angles. So the maximum setback from the line, it's the 5 feet point, which is you go to where the back becomes better setback. As per plan submitted, it does not affect the safety and the well-being of the community. And because the topography of the land is hard to, that's the only direction they can do it.
All right, Mr. Hannah, is there a second for that motion?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, Mr. Rivas seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Looks like the vote is unanimous for the record. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
All right. No old business, no new business, no correspondence, no other matters. Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, I was hoping Joe would do that. He's been running the table with motions. All right, Mr. Rivas makes a motion to adjourn.
Gotta speed up a little bit.
Yeah. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, Mr.
Aye.
I can't, who seconded that?
I did.
Michael
Oh,
Simmons.
okay, Michael, you're down in the second row. I'm sorry.
What happened?
Mr. Simmons, seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Hold on.
Thank
let's-
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Start the
Thank
2020.
you.
Thanks again, everyone.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Mary,
Mary.
go
Thank
up
you,
to the
Mary.
YouTube, go up to the YouTube and see if you can